Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and this is my Week 16 builder for the PMC D League. We are the coach of the Baltimore Oriolus. We're going up against Roshan, aka ProGAMER, coach of the Detroit Solgaleos this week. This is a rematch of our Week 4 match, where we came out with a pretty narrow victory. It was a 3-0, but we kind of got lucky in that he had an opportunity to kill Mega Sableye and did not. And Sableye was then able to kill the rest of his team since it was able to recover and go for Calm Mind. Oh no, it didn't even go for Calm Mind, it had Snarl. And that really stalled out his team, and it was pretty painful to watch him play, but wins are wins, is what I like to say. Let's go over his team real quickly. He's got Mega Diancie, Rotom, Staraptor, Umbreon, Nidoqueen, Druddigon, Excadrill, Mismagius, Galvantula, Regice, and Entei. So, his team is very threatening. He's made a few changes since we played the last time. He dropped a Celebi for Entei, and he dropped a Tangela for Regice. Which unfortunately makes my Sneasel a lot less good against him than it otherwise would be. But anyway, the biggest threat to my team as I see it are the Rotom and the Galvantula. And I think that's what I said at the last game. Fortunately, he did not bring the Galvantula the last time, but he did bring a max special attack Rotom with a timid nature. It only had leftover, so it didn't hit that hard. But after seeing how much I got destroyed by Manectric last week, I'm expecting that he's going to bring a more offensive Rotom or a more offensive Galvantula. Those things are very likely. Nidoqueen's also kind of a problem for my team. Just because I just don't have that great of answers for special attackers, I feel like. At least particularly these special attackers. And then he just has generally threatening mons on his team, like Diancie and Excadrill. Mismagius is very threatening. Staraptor hits like a truck. And his Regice is actually kind of problematic if he chooses to bring it. I'm hoping he doesn't, just because Roshan tends to prioritize offense over bulk, it seems like. So we do have a team. It's a little different than what we brought the last time. We're leaving the Jirachi and the Emboar at home and bringing everything else the same. I don't have these in any particular order, so we're just going to go ahead and hop right on into it. Some of these I changed to level 100 just because I needed to check if they were correct coming from my Jenner. First up is Seismitoad, Mr. JS Pex with Surf, Toxic Rest, and Stealth Rock. This thing is actually really annoying for him to take down if he doesn't have grass coverage on particular Pokemon. For example, Rotom can do absolutely nothing to this without grass coverage. So the plan is get off a Toxic on something and then basically rest stall it into Oblivion. It's kind of a cheeky strategy, but this is what you've got to do when your matchup is bad. Stealth Rock, obviously, for it's nice to have hazards up, especially against a team with Staraptor and other stuff like that on his team. It's going to be important to weaken the Rotom and things like that. Surf instead of Scald, because I don't want to accidentally burn something like Rotom. I want to Toxic it. Same with Regice. I'd really like to Toxic that thing. Opposite of what we did in the last game, we're going to have to play very carefully with this thing and try and anticipate the hidden power grass from certain Pokemon, such as Rotom. So fortunately for that, we do have a specially defensive Whimsicott back here, aka Afroman, with Moonblast, Giga Drain, Taunt, and Light Screen. So this thing can definitely wall Rotom with pretty much no problem. And it really does take on a lot of his team. It is going to be kind of pressured because it's being expected to do a lot of work. Like taking on Druddigon, taking on Galvantula if it's not Specs, taking on Rotom, and stuff like that. Moonblast is also there for Umbreon. That's something else that this Whimsicott's going to have to be able to handle. Seismitoad can handle that thing, assuming that we get off the Toxic and then can follow up with a Rest. And there's also, as I mentioned, takes on Rotom. So this thing is going to be working very hard this week. I'm going to have to do a very good job preserving it. It's going to be hard to do, but we're just going to have to play well. Because we can taunt stuff like Umbreon and then try and kill it, because otherwise he could stall us out with a Wish and or Moonlight. Light Screen, I think, is going to be a nice tech because he does so well with his special attackers against me. I want to be able to live a few hits, maybe an extra hit with the Skarmory if I need, or an extra hit with the Sableye or the Heliolisk. Should come in handy. We do also have an Occaberry Skarmory with Spikes, Roost, Toxic, and Iron Head. Toxic on this thing is also going to be really nice. Skarmory just walls the crap out of his team. It doesn't really want to fight against something like Entei or his electric types, but I think it walls basically everything else. It walls Diancie, it walls Excadrill, it walls Druddigon, it walls lots of stuff. And just being able to whittle down his team with Toxic and also with Spikes is going to be really great. Occaberry is there because I know he's going to bring Hidden Power Diancie this time if he does bring it. So I want to be able to lure that thing in and then hit it up with an Iron Head and take it out with an Occaberry, because that's going to be a big thing preventing our Sableye from potentially sweeping. Next up, we do have Gil Thunder, which is still very good against his team, even though he's added a couple of ice resists. It's, I think, the exact same set as last time. Fake Out, Knock Off, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard. It's a little bit tempting to put, what do you call it, onto this thing. Low Kick for the Regice, and I might do that still before I play the match. I'm recording this on a Wednesday, and I play on Saturday. Yeah, I play like a few hours before this video goes public, so I have some time to decide. I'll definitely let you guys know in my battle which way I end up going. This thing, just generally does well against him, and also it's can take on lead Galvantula, because we can Fake Out and then Knock Off and take him out. And it otherwise does decently against some of his other mons. I can't even particularly remember. Nidoqueen, this thing, Druddigon, Mismagius as well, and Ice Shard for the Staraptor is pretty nice. So yeah, I do think I might take off the Icicle Crash, because I do want the Icicle Crash. I think I'm just going to have to figure out another way to deal with the Regice. Regice can't take on Skarmory or Seismitoad, so I think that's going to be good enough. So yeah, it's going to put a good offensive pressure on him, and if we can prevent the Sticky Webs from going up, I think that's the biggest thing. We also have a Sableye. Let's go ahead and just, we can make this Mega Sableye just to have it Mega. Okay, cool. Recover, Calm Mind, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power, Fighting. I'm really going to miss Will-O-Wisp this week, I know. But if he might not really bring any physical attackers besides, like, Excadrill. In Staraptor. But I don't want to stay in even on a Burn Staraptor. Plus, he's also got Entei this week, and so I'm going to miss it, but I really wanted the extra coverage of Hidden Power Fighting to take on the Umbreon. Otherwise, I guess, because with that coverage, we do take on his entire team. We might have to go, it sounds kind of cheeky, we might have to go for some special defense drops with the Shadow Ball before we can really do anything to the Umbreon, assuming that it's fully specially defensive. It might not be. It might be physically defensive to take on other stuff on my team. Who knows? We'll have to kind of play it by ear and figure that out. But yeah, he really doesn't, if we can get rid of Diancie, like snipe it with our Skarmory, he doesn't really have a great answer for this. Sure, he can get off a big hit with something like Excadrill or Staraptor, but we'll figure out how offensive those two things are when the time comes. And then, last but not least, we do have a Choice Specs Heliolisk with Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Surf, Hyper Voice. We got bodied by a hard-hitting electric type last week. Now it's our turn. Besides Excadrill, he does not have a good ground type that can resist Thunder Bolts, and he's got, Druddigon to resist it. Okay, I guess he has Nidoqueen, so maybe I'll take back what I said, but it doesn't change the fact that it's going to be hitting really hard. The nice thing is that he does not really want to switch in on a potential Surf with either of these two Pokemon. It might be better to run Life Orb on this thing. I've run Life Orb like every single time I've brought Heliolisk, so I don't know if that's really what I want to do. That's another thing that I can switch before I go into the match. Max, because we need to outspeed Galvantula, and we obviously want to hit as hard as possible. And this is going to be a good cleaner. I don't have like defensive checks to some of his Pokemon, like Nidoqueen, like Galvantula, but I can check them offensively with this set. Maybe that's another reason to put Life Orb on this thing, because we don't want to invite in the Nidoqueen after we snipe something. You know, if we're locked into Thunderbolt, that just gives Nidoqueen free reign. Being able to switch up moves might be good. Maybe we'll go for, like, Expert Belt? I don't know. Expert Belt isn't really that great because the Thunder cover, the Electric coverage doesn't actually hit a lot of his team super effectively. But anyway, that is the team, you guys. I'm not really that confident in this team, to be quite honest. But I think what I've learned is that it just really all comes down to your execution. Minetric last week did a lot of work against us, so we could have prepped better against that. But that said, we could have won that game if we played better, not taking anything away from Orso. He put himself in a position to win, and you have to credit him for that. But you know, I thought our prep was really great last week, and we ended up blowing it. So this week, you know, some of my prep is bad, but I just don't feel like I'm having a favorable matchup going into this game. So I just have to focus really hard on making correct plays and thinking about what are his potential options. And if we can do that, hopefully we can come out with a victory. If we do in this game, it puts us in a really good position to make it to playoffs, because Orso is 2-3 right behind us, but he plays Kyle this week, and Kyle's got a really good matchup against him in my opinion. Mega Metagross just does work to his team, and Roshan is 1-4, which is, if he wins the next two and I lose the next two, it's possible that he can go ahead of us. But that seems, I don't know. It would be it's not an impossible set of circumstances, but it's a less likely set of circumstances. So we'll see. I'm not trying to count anybody out or say, you know, anybody's eliminated or, you know, people aren't good. Obviously, everybody in this league is really good because everybody's been able to snipe wins off of everybody else. You know, Orso has beaten me, and I like to think that I'm a good competitor in this league. Roshan beat Adam, who has the best record in the league. I you know, just trying to look at all the possible options and think about what's most likely. So anyway, that's enough rambling. This has been long enough. Thank you guys for watching. The video will be going up about this same time tomorrow, and please be sure to check back for that, and tune into my channel for other Pokemon content. So until the next time, I will see you all later.